Mr. Miller is absent at the moment. Ms. Conwell? Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilman Gallagher and Councilman Miller did express that they would be unable to attend this meeting today. So while it is not required, I'll make a motion to excuse their absence. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It's been moved in second. Is there any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one is signed in.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 30th meeting. Do I have a second? If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. If you'll read the first item into the record, please.
Resolution number 2019-0172, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Erskine Cade to serve on the Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board of Cuyahoga County for the term 7/1/2019 to 6/30/2023.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Regional Director Pomerantz, if you'll give us a little bit of background, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, the county executive and I are pleased to nominate Ernest Kincaid for a 4-year term reappointment beginning 7/1/2019 and expiring June 30th, 2023. The Adams Board is authorized by Section 340.02 of the Ohio Revised Code. The board consists of 18 members, 10 of whom are appointed by the executive and are subject to council confirmation, and 8 of whom are appointed by the Ohio Department of Alcohol and Drug Addiction Services. The Adams Board mission is to promote and enhance the quality of life of Cuyahoga County residents through a commitment to excellence in mental health, alcohol, drug, and other addiction services.
Thank you very much. And are there any other vacancies related to this board?
Madam Chair, yes, there are. Due to the fact that, let me look at my paper here, Elise Carabello is up for reappointment, and we have been working with her to have her come in to kind of go over some questions. Unfortunately, she's had a family illness, so we have not been able to reappoint her yet. And we just received word that there is a resignation of Cassie Handler. There isn't a vacancy on that appointment, and we've been meeting with several candidates and should have somebody nominated soon.
All right, thank you very much. I'll open it up to my colleague. Are there any questions for Ms. Pomerantz? All right, there being none, Mr. Cade, if you will give us a little background and express your interest in continuing to serve on this board, please.
Good morning to all of the members of council, the Councilwoman Brown and Conwell, and Mr. Jones, Councilman Jones, and to Ms. Pomerantz. Thank you for the opportunity to come this morning and talk about me and my reappointment to the Adams Board. And I was appointed 2 years ago and to a vacancy, and that term expired or has expired or is expiring. And so I'm up for reappointment. So why do I want to continue serving? First of all, giving back is something that I think very, very highly of, and it's been part of my life. I serve on and have served on a number of boards, dealing with health, mental health, public health, all of these. I chaired the board for the now it is they've changed their name to what they've taken over the health center there in East Cleveland. And so forth. I chaired that, and I've served on other boards here in Cleveland. And it's a personal issue to me as well, to be able to help those that need help, in whether it's alcohol, drug addiction, mental health, whatever it is. It's a personal issue in terms of my family. Yeah, and I have a niece that has severe mental illness and retardation. And and I would say thanks to the county and some of the things that they are doing to help her as she deals with her mental health issues. So it is very, very personal in that aspect of it. Also, as I serve in a capacity at my church, and dealing with the members in our own congregation that have mental health issues, other types of issues, and so forth. And so I really believe in in the principle of giving back and doing whatever I can to assist others to help them to navigate, the issues and the illnesses and things that they are encountering. So again, I said it's a personal, endeavor of mine. And serving on the Adams Board these last 2 years have been a real, I guess, a pleasure for me, to sit around the table with others and seeing the work that they do and that those that they are helping throughout Cuyahoga County. So again, it's an important endeavor for me. And I would wholeheartedly very much appreciate being reappointed to the board.
Thank you very much. How often does the board meet?
It meets monthly, and generally it's the third Monday, it's a Wednesday in each month. In between that, there are committees which we're all assigned to. And those committees generally meet, during or before the, the regular meetings and so forth. And I served on the Community Relations Committee, and so we met on a monthly basis as well.
Okay, and given your personal experience and how closely this issue impacts you and your family, are there any initiatives that you are focused on relative to the board?
No, I am not.
Okay, and then can you speak to any challenges that you see that the board has that the council might be able to advocate for?
Well, the biggest issue is always in terms of funding sources. To be able to provide, the service that those that that are in need, and whether it's coming from the county, state, or the federal, and that the need is just so great, and being able to utilize those funds that that we have available to ourselves. And so I think that is always the biggest challenge, Councilwoman Brown, is having the adequate resources, the support of the county, and the support of all of those that are looking out for the most vulnerable in our society.
And I guess the one question that I would ask relative to the needs, are there anything specific? Would it be housing, staff, or of the top two, what would those resources, how would you earmark those resources if you had them to be utilized?
Certainly it is having the adequate facilities, housing and staff, or among those, but there are others as well, and being able to get them to the proper treatment facilities that they need to go to in order to get that, whether it's in-home service or whether it is someplace else. But certainly, those are two of the major issues that we're faced.
Thank you very much. I'll open it up to my colleagues. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns of Councilman Jones? And then Councilwoman Conwell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And congratulations and thank you for your service over these last 2 years.
Well, thank
Mr.
you
Cade,
for yours.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You mentioned that you are on the Community Relations Committee.
Yes, for the Adams Board.
What are some of the agenda items you've dealt with in this committee?
Well, one is to meet with many of the organizations that we're servicing. Two is to meet with elected officials, talk about the needs, talk about and try to bring a focus to from a broader community perspective, in getting the word out and the things is that we need. Advocating for those and in terms of the resources and everything that we need. So it is the committee does excellent work, as I said, in reaching out, to the community and the leadership in this community at large.
Have you had any engagement with the needs of the county jail through this committee? Or if not just the committee, just
we have to some extent where we have worked with Metro Health in that we provide funding and resources to Metro Health. We provided some funding to the jail itself. But in terms of from a personal involvement, I have not had. And again, it's just through, supporting the programs, to help, them to work through the situation there.
What role has the Adams Board at large had, if any, in the county jail?
That's a good question. And I said, other than just, to working with and to make sure that the proper and adequate services are there, we have not had an out front role in that, or, being in a, working, with the county or others in terms of developing programs for that. But again, it's just working with other organizations to help to provide, the kind of services that are needed there at the jail.
Of the 2,100 individuals in that jail, there is a number that has mental health issues, challenges.
Yes.
I don't have a hard number for that. That's something I would like to know. That's important. I heard a range from 300 to 700, but as of yet, not heard a number. But it's obviously important, and I can imagine Adams Board playing some
Playing a
role
cer-
at some point in the ultimate resolution of meeting the needs of these individuals in the county jail.
Well, it's certainly a message, that can go back, to the Adams Board with and advocate that with the CEO, as well as with my fellow board members, that we need to become more engaged, in that process.
But as certain
I
as,
will do that.
thank you.
Councilwoman Conwell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Most of my questions have been answered, but Mr. Kincaid, any conversations amongst the board appointees on the board about the mental health levy? I know at one time there was a overwhelming discussion when Bill Dennehan was in charge.
There still is, Councilwoman Conwell. That is it's the underpinning, of the Adams Board is that, that county levy. And we're playing a very out front role and taking an out front position on the passage of that. If that levy fails, then, it is going to have a devastating impact, not only on the county, but on the work of the Adams Board. So, yeah, it is a very, very high priority that we throw in and support, that levy.
Okay. But what about the mental health levy on its own?
Well, both of those,
Okay.
we're supporting, those levies, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Cade. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, I will make a motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming down and your
Thank you
willingness to
very much.
serve and all of the work that you're doing, and hopefully you will be continuing to do for the Adams Board. Counselor Clerk, will you read the next item into the record, please?
Resolution number 2019-0181, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
All right. If you'll state your name for the record and give us a little bit of background about what it is you have before us this morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Albert Bouchahine. I'm the Manager of Classification and Compensation for the Personnel Review Committee. We have changes in departments' needs, operational needs, routine maintenance necessitate the creation of 3 new classifications, the revision of 5 classifications, and the deletion of 4 classifications. Before you for your consideration are modifications to the county's non-bargaining classification plan that the PRC approved and recommended to you at their August 14th, 2019 meeting. All the modifications were prepared by the PRC Class and Comp staff, who has worked with the Department of Human Resources and Department Management to ensure that they're fully informed of the proposed changes before you. In accordance with the PRC rules, the proposed changes were posted on the PRC's website prior to consideration today. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Any incumbents in the revised or deleted?
Madam Chair, all the revised classifications have incumbents, but there are no changes to any of the pay grades, so there'll be no impact there. There are no incumbents in the deleted classifications that are before you. The only one that I wanted to bring to your attention, as we've talked about this in the past, is the Safety and Health Coordinator. There is currently no incumbent. That position used to be in the Department of Public Works. It was transferred some time ago to the Department of Human Resources. And at that point, it was determined by the Law Department and HR that it's an unclassified position. So therefore, we're recommending the deletion from the county's class plan to you.
So can you just walk me through that a little bit, how it moved from Public Works to Human Resources?
I don't know the specifics. I can guess that the nature of the work, it was determined between the directors of Public Works and the Director of Human Resources that it was a better fit for it to be in HR. It was vacant at the time. HR did fill the position. That person left as well. And they now, I think, are in the process of trying to fill that position. But in the meantime, it was classified at Public Works. When it transferred to the Department of Human Resources, it was determined that it was unclassified by the Law Department and the HR Department.
Okay, and relative to the position that went to Human Resources, it's parenthetical here, Environmental Health and Safety Manager. Is that the new position that would be expected to be filled in Human Resources?
That's correct, Madam Chair. It was Safety and Health Coordinator in the Department of Public Works. In the Department of Human Resources, the title is Environmental Health and Safety Manager.
And when it's unclassified, there are no testing mechanisms in place, and also they are unprotected. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I guess for one other question relative to that position, are you of the opinion that this position should have remained classified? Although it doesn't matter in this instance because it's being deleted, but just given your knowledge and history of the position and given its new role, is that something that we should have potentially maintained as a classified position?
Madam Chair, at a minimum, I think that's something that we should have been involved in a discussion with.
Okay.
Before it just unilaterally decided that it's an unclassified position. The essential functions were part of the class plan. I certainly think that that's something that should have been discussed and involved the Personnel Review Commission prior to
The transition.
the transition.
Okay, and I know Councilwoman Conwell, having held this seat prior to my having become the chair, was very diligent and always observing those changes. And so I do not want that to be lost on this committee as well. So we will continue to carry that charge forward. The fiscal positions will be for the Department of...
Madam Chair, the fiscal specialist 1, 2, and 3 classifications are new classifications that we developed. We consolidated the essential functions of the current fiscal officer 1, 2, and 3, and the budget officer 1, 2, and 3. So essentially, we're going from 6 classifications down to 3. Those employees in the budget officer and fiscal officer series will be slotted by Human Resources into one of these new 3 positions, depending on what their duties are, once these classifications are created.
So will they be throughout multiple departments or just budget?
Throughout the county.
Oh, throughout the county. Okay. I'll open it up to my colleagues. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair to Albert, I was just wondering if, because I done sat here and I just see it's a little bit of classification changes, every committee. Could you send us a list of all the ones that have been, deleted or reorganized? And if you guys have had, I know Sarah used to play a great role in pushing back, and I'm not saying that she's not now, I'm just not hearing anything in terms of when they're getting rid of these classifications.
Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Conwell, I will send the entire committee a list of the classifications that have been moved along through the legislative process in 2019. That's not an issue. I should note that we have had recently, maybe within the last couple months, a meeting with Chairwoman regarding some sort of way that we can fix this issue of classifications coming out of the class plan, moving into the unclassified service. We're not quite there yet, but the discussion is ongoing. But I certainly will send you a list of all the classifications that we've revised, created, and deleted.
Good.
And I'm guessing that is an ongoing list. Mr. Duchesne, as well as our Chief of Staff, Joe Nani, he has provided that list to us before, so we'll make sure to get it to all the members of the committee. And I do think it's important that we continue to work diligently to, again, maintain the initiatives and the diligence that Councilwoman Conwell initiated, so that we don't harm the structure of the county moving forward as it relates to these positions. Any other discussion relative to this? All right. Is this okay to go 3 readings?
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right, then we'll move this to the full body of the council. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Council Clerk, if you read the next item.
Resolution number 2019-0195, confirming the county executive's appointment or reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Community-Based Correctional Facility Governing Board for various terms.
All right, thank you very much. I'll turn it over to Ms. Pomerantz if you'll give us a little bit of background.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The county executive and I are very excited to have you consider this new appointment of Maggie Keenan for a term beginning 1/1/2019, expiring 12/31/2021, replacing Crystal Bryant, and also consider the reappointment of Vincent Holland for a 3-year term expiring 12/31/2021. The Cuyahoga County Community-Based Correctional Facility Governing Board, it was established, and this is a correctional facility to provide local alternatives to prison sentences for nonviolence offenders who have the potential to be rehabilitated through local punishment, work, and education. Community-based correctional facilities provide comprehensive programming to address the needs of offenders, including chemical dependency issues and education and training for current employment opportunities. These efforts are designed to achieve the goal of reducing recidivism and providing successful reentry into society. Each member of the board serves for a 3-year term, and I do have a list, if you need it, of all the other members of the board.
Very much. Questions? I'll start with Councilwoman Conwell this time, and then you, Mr. Jones. All right.
To the chair, too, Michelle, could you share with us the thought process of why Director Bryant was removed? I know she's or did you just step down?
Director
or-
Bryant asked to step down, and as a part of her stepping down, she asked to be part of the Adams Board, which we appointed her in July. Ms. Keenan, being from the OBM and having a deep understanding of budgets, was a member that they were looking for. The members of the board include Al Sanchez, Melanie Gianmaria, lots of attorneys, lots of folks who are part of the Adams Board, but we wanted to have somebody that had a budgetary background, and Ms. Keenan becomes very highly qualified.
Thank you.
No, I think Councilman Conwell was gonna ask the same question I did, so we all right. Great minds think
Great
alike.
minds. I was
That's
going to
right.
say, so funny. I felt the same way, but I had the conversation offline with Director Pomerantz. So, all right. So we'll turn it over to you, Ms. Keenan. If you'll state your name for the record and express share a little bit of your background and why you're willing or your desire to serve on this board.
I'm Maggie Keenan, Office of Budget and Management. Just if I may first, Councilman Jones, so you're aware, the Adams Board is an active participant in the Mental Health Diversion Center meetings.
Okay.
So they are involved in the jail, in where we're going next. So I just wanted to let you know that. And then I also had some history with the position that moved from Public Works to HR. The thought process was that HR, at least at the time, this is when Ed Morales was here, but they wanted to really beef up the safety program countywide. And the individual that was in Public Works was really working just with Public Works. And they have a lot of safety issues, obviously, just by the nature of the work they do. But they've hired a handful of people in the workers' comp area because they want to have a more robust safety program. So that was a thought process of switching the
I would
position.
urge you to be careful. You might have to come to these meetings all the time.
Okay, sorry. You guys know me. I've been with the Office of Budget Management since 2006. I started as an analyst, became a senior analyst in 2008, came back as the director in 2015. Previously, I know Sandy Turk, who was the former budget director, had sat on the CBCF board from the beginning. I was here, I was the analyst when they started the CBCF in Cuyahoga County. Prior to working with the county, I do have experience in social services, direct social services. I worked 2 years social service programs for a neighborhood centers association, and then I worked 4 years in behavioral health at the free clinic. That was as a volunteer, but I did assessments in mental health and substance abuse. So there's some overlap with the clientele that we were serving at the free clinic and the clients that are at the CBCF. I do have experience in nonprofit finance. So with Neighborhood Centers Association, I did all the financial management for our programs, which were in the millions of dollars. And I've been the it's a volunteer, but finance director of the Lake County Free Clinic since about 2010. Side note, but in addition, I know they have attorneys on the board, but I am in my final year of law school. So I'll be graduating in May. So I have that added interest, which makes this a more interesting position for me. It's something new. I'm always interested in new things. So that's it.
Through the chair, I also wanted to make sure that you knew that Ms. Wells, the program manager for the McDonald Center, is here as well to answer any questions and provide additional support, as well as Maggie did make summa cum laude on her last semester at law school.
Dean's List.
Congratulations.
Oh, excuse me, Dean's List.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. So
First and only time.
any questions from, yes, Councilman Jones?
I guess we hear resumes all the time, but that was special.
Yes.
It was nice to know.
We're very proud of her.
Yes, we
I
are.
think in terms of budgeted numbers, but it's nice to know the well-roundedness of your career, your breadth of experience. I guess my question is around this new position. Did you seek it, or were you asked to?
So I was asked, but I will say that several years ago, I was approached by the Court of Common Pleas about sitting on this board when Sandy left. And that, for whatever reason, never really kind of panned out. But so I probably would have sought it if Michelle hadn't come to me first, because it's been in the back of my mind as something I might be interested in doing.
Give us some insight from your perspective, the role that you would play in the board.
So I will defer, obviously, to really answer that question until I sit on the board to see what they want of me. But my presumption is that it's largely going to be financial. The county, I know, transfers $5.5 million to the CBCF for operating expenses. I assume they get some additional grant dollars as well. I'm not sure what their full budget is. But so I think I'm probably going to play more financial oversight and making sure that they're following proper accounting practices, financial management, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I don't have a question for Maggie, but just to Michelle, I was looking over the next person's resume, and I would be very interested if you could reach out and see if we could get a copy of that dissertation that he did. It's Reform, Where is Thy Victory? A study of the reform efforts in Summit, Allegheny, and Cuyahoga counties.
This is for the consideration of Vincent Holland
Yeah.
for reappointment. I'd be happy to try to get that for you.
And Maggie, you're just wonderful. Congratulations. Invite us to the graduation. Are you at,
Thank you.
down here?
And Marshall, yep.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think I echo the sentiments of my colleagues that you are certainly experienced and have a wealth of knowledge that I know that will be a tremendous asset to the board. So I can't say I've ever been this excited about a new appointment, especially coming from OBM. It's an unusual, I think, or at least, not the one that we would anticipate or expect. So the out of the box thinking, and again, the experience that you bring and the work that you do for us here at the county speaks volumes. And so I am excited for you, and I think this is an outstanding recommendation. So if there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, Councilwoman Conway?
I just want to make sure you're not trying to change your role here and go over to the law department?
No, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. Good. We have that on record. It's on record, okay? So yes, but just your enthusiasm and insatiable appetite clearly to learn is of tremendous value to the county, and so we are fortunate to have you, and this board will be even more fortunate to have you. So if there are no additional comments or questions or concerns.
We've taken all the surprise out of the vote, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, actually, we have the gentleman, Dr. Vincent Holland, who could not be with us today, but he is up for reappointment. He did provide his resume and a letter stating his desire to continue to serve. And we did get a high recommendation from Director Pomerantz to support his reappointment. So do you have any questions relative outside of the
actually, no.
ask for his dissertation? Does Councilman Jones?
No, I read it and I saw that dissertation, and I was interested in learning more about that aspect of it. So if we could get
All
a
right.
little more insight into what they've done.
Well, good job, Michelle. We will move this to the second reading of the council under second reading suspension. If I can get a second for that.
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, excellent. That was the last item on this agenda. So if there's no miscellaneous business, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
right,
Thank you,
thank-
members.